Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the North East Non-League Show, episode 55, Brandon United special, sponsored by Jade Bell and DJ Private Hire. Joining us tonight, we have former Brandon United manager Steve Pickering. Steve, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight.
No problem, James. Thanks for having us, mate.
Yeah, and Monday night, the news broke. Obviously, trustees of Brandon United confirmed the withdrawal of the club from the Northern League with immediate effect and are able to fulfil any remaining fixtures after taking advice from both financial and from football perspective, unable to continue. And I mean, my thoughts straight away, and it doesn't matter what club it is, at any level of football, it's sad to see it, and especially with a club like Brandon with so much history as well. It was quite shocked to see it reach this point. And I know, obviously, a lot of people are watching on, say kind of about what we're going to be doing tonight, but it's all about getting Brandon back out there. I would love to see someone come in or something happen over the next month or so and save the club, because the community should not lose a football team. It's a hub for me personally. It should be a main hub for a village, a community, and hopefully something will be done within the next few weeks. But Steve, what was your thoughts on the state when you first seen it?
When I seen that statement, mate, to be honest, I was gutted. I only joined them last season, and I felt for the issue with the club, and I tried my honest to sort it out. But I like you, mate. When you asked me to come on the show a few weeks ago, I said I was going to come on, and then I declined it. But when the news broke yesterday, I thought, right, I need to go on, because there is things what can be done to save the club. There's people I was interested in investing when I was there, but for certain reason they pulled out at the last minute. Now I've had people come back in touch now and say, look, now certain members have left. They're willing to come on board and sort the debt up and give the club a fighting chance. So basically that's what I'll come on for, mate. And obviously you want to ask me about obviously my time at Brandon and how I've got to where I am now. So yeah.
Excellent. And like you say, with the club itself, I mean, throughout the 70s, obviously growing into the Northern League, obviously FA Cup runs as well, and champions in 2002, 2003, before relegation back to Division 2 in 2006. But I think, obviously, when the statement was put on, and it was just so nice to see former players and people, and like you say, the committees and just volunteers that's been over there with Brandon throughout the years, putting on the stories that they've had, and it was good. And actually reading some of the former players, obviously, that were putting their history on of their time at the club, and it was quite sad to read, obviously, with the club what it was at the moment. I know personally myself a couple of things with Brandon. I know going there as a 16-year-old lad one Tuesday call night to see Alan Shoulder about signing on, and he just said, go and sit in that stanchion and watch. This is proper man's football, and why it was. But like you say, he just fell in love with Northern League, and you see that view from up on the stands as well. It's just a great place to be. But when you see a club, like you say, with so much history, just resigning from the league, and it's like a community hub, a lot of Northern League sides, the pride in that. I know a lot of people do these warm hubs now in the community sides and giving the kids the free tickets to come on a Saturday, and it just leaves a big space in a community, doesn't it?
It does, mate. It's a massive gap. And like you said, mate, there's so much history up there, and it's a great little ground. It's a cracking little ground. The infrastructure is there. It's just obviously, like you said there, since the last 3 or 4 years, it's had a disconnect with the community for myself. And that's something I tried to do when I went back in. I tried to get Brandon Juniors back involved. I invited the players down to come train with the under 18s so I could have a look and bring some through. But it just fell on deaf ears. Not with the Brandon Youth. Brandon Youth were all for it. It was with the committee members and the chairman, what was obviously just recently left. Didn't want that to happen, which was sad to see, because that's where you could bring and grow the community again. We put a lot of events on. I got people down there from Brownie Juniors who then become Brandon Juniors, sorry. And they come in, they put a lot of events on. We got a lot of money into the club, and it was starting to build a nice feel to it. And it was. And the attendances, I mean, I've got the attendances here when I was in charge. There were 84s, 95, 101. And people were coming to start to watch football again. I thought we were playing a nice brand of football as well. Attractive football with plenty of comments from the opposition managers. And we won some decent games. But then, obviously, when I was relieved, it just seems to have stopped. There's been no functions at the football players at the club. Seems like the turnstiles have gone down to 30s, 40s, 50s. It's just something it's criminal, really, mate. It needs rescuing. It does need rescuing.
Yeah, very sad. I mean, from 2006, obviously, onwards, it was kind of a downfall, and they're really struggling, like say, for attendances and the football on the pitch as well. But I know, obviously, a good friend, obviously, I think you'll be watching as well, Matty Thompson taking over, and to take the club from what he did to obviously almost was going to be in the playoffs, and until he leaving for Crook as well, he did an absolutely fantastic job. And I know Matty's been on the show a few times and messaged him. and he just had so much hope and where they wanted to take the club back to Division 1 and future as well. And it was just so nice to see Brand United up there rather than down that relegation zone. And like you say, a young, hungry manager. And then from Matty leaving, obviously for Crook, changes were made. And when at that time did you then start getting involved with the club?
I think Matty had gone on a 10-game unbeaten run, didn't he? I mean, Matty's one of my friends as well. And he's a great guy. So a lovely guy and even better manager. I take a lot from Matty. I really do appreciate him. And I think Matty on a 10-game unbeaten run, Crook come in for him, which is obviously going to happen because he's doing a really good job. And then I know he left. And Kane Weirs came on board, I think, took over at Brandon. I think it was 15 or 16 games left. This, for me, was probably one of the committee's first mistakes. Kane's a great coach, but you're only a 26-year-old lad, great coach, never played semi-pro football, never managed above junior level or college level, and never been in semi-pro football. So he didn't know how the workings, the kid's a great kid, but he didn't know the workings of a club. The committee obviously gave Kane the job based on his knowledge and because he knew a lot about the club and a lot about the players. And then Kane come in, but what Kane did was he didn't realise that the wage budget was the wage budget, and you pay people weekly, not per game. So Kane brought a lot of lads in, started paying them per game. The £500 a week wage budget soon was £1,500 if you played 3 games in 1 week, and that's where the problems for me started to arise, where they started to get in financial trouble. I was brought in, I think Kane had played about 4 or 5 games. Didn't know Kane very well. I was at Gateshead Academy doing the 17s, and we were on a prolific season. We were unbeaten. We're in the cup final. We'd walked the league, and Kane approached me and said, "Would you come and help me out down at Brandon?" So I left Gateshead and went down to Brandon to help him out. Straight away, I could see obviously what was going off. There was no financial. Sorry, mate. There was no financial structure in place, and the wage budget what was given to him had been spunked with something like 9 weeks remaining. So the players weren't going to get paid. I soon realised this, and we were playing. I think we were playing Borough Rangers away. So I spoke to the committee and said, "Look," and the captain was Glenn Cagle at that time. I said, "We need to have a chat because there's no money going forward for the players, and we need to tell the players." So I'd arranged a meeting with the committee to come down. Jackie had come down to Borough Rangers, and Dave Strong, and I said to Kane, "We need to have a chat with Glenn to start with. Tell him there's no money going forward and let the players know." Kane poured scorn on that, said, "No, we're not doing that. It's going to ruin confidence. We need to keep on going on." So that meeting was cancelled. If that meeting had gone ahead, I think the players would turn around and said, "Look, Steve, Kane, there's no money, but we'll play for you." Do you know what I mean? I think they would have carried on. There's only 9 games left. They would have carried on till the end of the season. So what Kane did, he poured scorn on that. The players didn't get paid. Then the players started asking for the money, and it was lie after lie after lie. So I think it was 3 games left. These lads have played their hearts out, doing well. I think Kane lost 10 out of 12 and drew 2. I decided to pay the wages. So I paid the players' wages. I paid 2 weeks' wages for the players, £1,000 out of my own pocket. Never asked for that back, just to get us through to the end of the season, which it did do. But then there was a backlog from other games that was owed. So there was, in total, I think it was about £4,500 what was owed to players. Kane fell out with Jackie on the committee and Dave, and they relieved him of his duties. I think then Jackie found out that I'm quite well to do with money. I'm quite wealthy. So she wanted to install me as manager. So, which she did do. She installed us as a manager. And then she started asking, we need this, we need that, we need over to pay last season's bills off, and we need money for going forward next season. So I loaned the club £2,500 to get it out of the shit. So loaned them the money. That paid the debts off for last season, and it paid for the fees going forward into the new season. I starts pre-season, 4 players turned up. So you can understand the lads what are not being paid. Said, I'm not coming until we've been squared off. So it was like, I've got no team at all. So I had to build a brand new team. I spoke to some players, like people like Adam Knowles. I lost Adam Knowles, Scotty Oldfield, Callum Oldfield. All these were Northern League lads, were good players, but they're not being paid, so they didn't return. So I was left with 4 or 5 players left from the previous season. I had to build a brand new squad. So what I did is I got some of my Gateshead Academy lads, 4 of them, 16-year-olds, into the squad. Managed to retain goalkeeper Alan Skelton, who was class,
Yeah,
brilliant.
great keeper.
Yeah, brilliant goalkeeper. And his dad then became my assistant manager, Dave Skelton. I retained Adam Metcalf, who was a really good player. Carlos Malpass, I thought Carlos was brilliant, little workhorse CDM. Harry Thompson and Davy Mitch, who was the captain. That's all I retained. So I started bringing players in. I got brought Declan Moss in, who played Northern League 1, 2, got him down, virtually playing for nothing, got him in. Lewis Henry I brought back to the club. And then a few more, I had an open trial, and I got a few lads in from the Wearside League. So we were building a team around, obviously, experienced lads, academy lads, and lads what had left other clubs in Northern League and come down. We were doing all right pre-season, played a few pre-season friends, drew 1-1 with Blue Star, won a few games, lost a few games pre-season, as you do. But the team was starting to build, it was looking well. We got, my wife works for Utility Warehouse, we got £800 off them as well, contributed towards the players and the players' wages going into the new season. The players raised £1,000 themselves by sponsorship. So we had about 1,800 quid, what had already been put into the kitty for the season going forward. For wages. We got some sponsorship coming in, which was supposed to be coming from Vitality, which never materialised because I was virtually, given a 5-game notice period and I was going to be sacked. But I said if this money never come in from Vitality, I was going to put the 20 grand in myself as a club loan. So that was on the table. The money was there. We kicked the season off playing, was it Newcastle University? Lost that game 1-0, but we should have won it 4 or 5-1. We got a red card in the first, something like 15, 20 minutes, playing with 10 men, as you know, James, in this league.
Yeah,
it's tough, it's rock hard. We lose that 1-0. We should have won the game, played some beautiful football. Then we played on the Wednesday night against Washington, and I think it was the 1st of August and 2nd of August. And it was hailstoning, lightning, fun. The game was shocking. We drew 0-0, which first, we should have won that as well. We had chances. And then we went down to Chesley Street Town, and we got spanked 5-0. And no team of mine has ever played like that. We got annihilated. Another man sent off in the first half, Jake Blackford, a young lad who I brought in. He got sent off in the first half, so backs against the wall again. And I gave the lads a proper bollocking that day. And that's what showed me then the lads what really took it on board the following games, and the lads what withered. And the lads what withered were the lads what had been there previous season. And they started getting fractures in the team. The lads were not didn't want to play for us and stuff like that. So next game we moved on. Who was the next game we played? Played Redcar Town. Redcar Town. Winning 1-0. Dave Mitchell scored absolute worldly from the halfway line, winning 1-0. And then the young lad I brought in, Pete Pinheiro, a Brazilian, decides to get himself sent off after 25 minutes. We go 1-1 at 78, and then we lose in the 94th minute. So all the games we're playing were tight, apart from Chesley Street, were tight games. And we were doing really well, and we're playing good football, James, playing beautiful football. The lads have been paid, got their wages, everybody was happy. A couple of the lads from the previous season were starting to get a bit annoyed and wanted to move on, which I could understand. Carlos had been missing for 4 weeks as he'd been to Cyprus. He didn't come back while the Blue Star game. So I started bringing new players in again. So got more new players coming in, lads from around the Wearside League and Northern Alliance Prem. Good players, and we were playing well. And then the next game we had, who was it? Bolden. So Bolden had come down. They were top of the league. I did my own work on Levi Collins and Jallo. I said to the lads, look, we keep these two quiet, we win. We won 1-0, which was an absolute amazing result. And I could see the team building, then it was going really well. From the red card game, I get the lads a bollocking, and I actually pulled the diamond out of that one because I signed Brandon Turnbull. I don't know if you know Brandon.
I think that's game, yeah.
Yeah, he's now at Tower, I think. But because I went down there, good little player. But I got him in, and he was a proper little little midfielder, and that's what we needed. The game started coming together, and we were playing some lovely football. I signed Matt Langley from Step 5, who was from down Sheffield. He came up and played. And we're starting to build a really, really good team. I brought Steve Durant on board. Probably when was it? Just before the beginning of the season. I brought him on board because I needed another coach. So I brought Steve Durant on board, and as a coach, they were coaching, and the lads didn't like his style of coaching because he was old-fashioned and all this. And so I said to Steve, look, I said, the lads don't like your style of coaching. I think you need to. I want you at the club, but I think you need to think about going upstairs, which he did do, and he was brilliant at what he did. He brought loads of revenue in, loads of finances, absolute genius at what he did, brilliant that side of things. The games are coming in thick and fast. The sponsorship money's still not coming, so we were starting to lose the wage pot again, and it was going down. But bear this in mind, I've always said if the money didn't come in, I'd put it out of my own pocket. So it started to get a bit, I don't know, I said not a bit heated, but I'd say a bit what's the word I'm looking for? A bit tense. Started to get a bit tense with the committee and the trustees. So Steve had asked me if I'd bring one of his friends on, who was Billy Harper. Would you bring him on to the coaching team? Well, I'd already brought Graham Glatty from Gateshead. I got Dave as my assistant, and I got Liam Brickett, who was former Sunderland player, nipping in when he wanted to. So really, there was no space. And I looked at Billy's resume, and I think he'd 54 games in the Northern League, lost 46, drawn 6, never won a game. So I said to Steve, why do I need somebody like him on my coaching team? So I turned it down. I said, no, I don't need it. But then this time, Steve had been me, obviously, chairman. That's when things started turning sour from that day. The week after, I was told I got 5 games. What game are we on now? We played Easington, lost 2-0. Then we played Blue Star, got battered 5-0. And we played Wrighton, lost 7-1 because I had no team. So after the Wrighton game, Steve's come up to me and said, right, we're worried about the finance not coming in from Vitality. I said, no, don't worry about it, it's there. I said, but if it doesn't, I will pay the players' wages. He said, no, I don't want you paying the players' wages. I said, well, I will do, because I don't want the players being out of pocket like I've done previously. So I said, we'll do that. He says, he says, me and the committee have been speaking. We've given you a 5-game notice period. You must win 3 out of 5. So in this 3 out of 5 games, we got Jarrah, the first game, which we won. Let's have a look, where was it? Got Jarrah. We got Chester Street United, then Hartlepool, and then Newcastle Blue Star and Sunderland West End. So basically, told me I needed a minimum 9 points in the next 5 games. Otherwise, I was sacked. After we were 13th in the league, just done a great job. We played Jarrah 1-2-1, and he said you need to get these 9 points. So which I were a bit perplexed by. I think we're doing so well. Everybody's commenting out what we're doing, and he's giving this ultimatum. And he also said the money needs to come in for 20 grand. So I was like, hang on a minute, you want me to bring 20 grand in, or me fund the 20 grand, but you're going to sack me if I don't get 9 points in 5 games. So we played Jarrah that, I think it was the Wednesday we played Jarrah. Played Jarrah that Wednesday. 1-2-1. It was like we spoke off air. Great result that was. Jarrah had only lost 1 game, 1-2-1. Steve didn't celebrate. Jackie didn't celebrate after, because obviously I think they got a play to get me out of the club. And then as the lads are celebrating in the change room, Steve Durrant's come up to me and said, now you need to go in and tell them lads they ain't getting paid after the Horden game on Saturday. So I said, you what? I said, so you want me to go in there after probably the biggest win of the season for them? They're all buzzing. You want me to tell them they ain't going to get paid after Saturday? I said, you can. So I swore at him. I said, you can do it. And he went, no, you're the manager. You can do it. So we had a fallout on that evening. Then the next day, I get a phone call saying that there's a voice message going around, and it's not a very nice voice message, and they're going to suspend me. So I said, right, what's gone off? So he told me what had gone off, which we'll get into shortly. He told me what had gone off, and then he said, no, in fact, we're not suspending, we're sacking you. You're gone. So this voicemail, which I'm sure everybody's aware of what went around, is with me and Carlos Malpass. Carlos come back from holiday. He was a bit overweight. He played against Newcastle Blue Star, and he wasn't doing too well. So Graham and I decided to take him off after 68 minutes. We took him off after the game. We had a bit of a heated debate in the bar, talked about what had gone off. Carlos was pissed off with himself. I was pissed off with Carlos and myself as well, because we got turned over 5-0. Everybody went home, and then Carlos and I had a discussion that evening on the telephone, which was quite heated and debated. When I finished the conversation with him, what I liked about it is he was passionate. He was passionate about Brandon, and he was upset that he'd lost, and so was I, and I was upset it was lost. But things were said about my wife and my child, and I said things to him. And I would like to apologise to Carlos and his family right now. Do a public apology. The things I said, I shouldn't have said. He was just in the heat of the moment, but Carlos had recorded it and obviously played that. So going back to my point, when me and Steve had this argument about Jarrow, this voicemail was 2 weeks prior to the Jarrow match. So me and Steve had a fallout about after the Jarrow game, and he told me I need to tell the players they wasn't getting paid, all this lot. And then all of a sudden this voicemail's come out from nowhere, and he's used that to sack us. So that was it. And it was like a whirlwind. It was like, hang on, we're 13th in the league. They're playing some good football. I've got a run of fixtures here, which I played all the top half, James. To be fair, we played Easington, we played Bolden, we played Blue Star. We played all the top teams what were vying for really the promotion.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a run now in these next probably 10 games where I know I can pick 6, 9, 12, 15 points up with a team what I had. But obviously I wasn't given the chance. Steve took over and managed it himself. I think he lost 3-1 against Chester Street United and then lost 9-0. And then he brought Billy Harper in, and then they lost 14-1, 9-0, and then 1-0, and then whatever it was. So the point I'm getting here is Steve wanted me out of the club because he wanted to bring Billy Harper on board originally as a coach. And I said no. They both was at Durham City together, and we all know what happened at Durham City. The same thing what happened to Brandon. It got decimated. They lost every single game, conceded some like 196 goals. And that's what's happened now. And I actually said to one of the volunteers, Dean Johnson, I went to the Crook game 2 weeks after I was sacked. And I said I went to watch Crook versus Redcar Athletic. And I said to Dean, I said, I can guarantee you what's going to happen. Steve will take over, do 2 or 3 games, realise he can't cope with it, bring Billy Harper in. Billy will come in, lose. I said, they won't gain another point. What the 7 points what on the table now is what I got. I said, they won't get another point out of this season. I says, and then Steve will resign. I said, and the club will fold. And I can promise you can ask Dean Johnson. I said, the exact things what I said to him have happened now because I know how the guy worked. And the money would have been there one way or another, James, because like I said, I would have put it out of my own pocket. If it had not come through for sponsorship, I would have put it in. And you can ask all the players from last season, the lads who aren't here now. I paid the wages last season, so I would have done it this season. But then I've been made to look the villain. We've got like all the Brandon Facebook page, like it's my fault. I ruined the team. I didn't ruin the team. Steve ruined the team because he thought by sacking me, he could take over. But what he didn't realise is we had a unity in the dressing room, the players and the manager and the coaching staff. We were all together. So on that Saturday, he sacked me on the Thursday. On the Saturday, we're playing Horden at home. And Steve thought people were just going to turn up and everybody's going to say, well, Steve's been sacked. That's it. It's done. We're going to play on. I think 4 players turned up. And they boycotted the game. Now, if it had been that I'd played 9, lost 9 games and got sacked, the players would have turned up because it's a results business, as we all know.
Yeah.
And I would have got chopped for that. But people could see we were building a good team spirit. We've got a great team going. The fans was complimenting, saying we haven't seen football since Matty Thompson's days, like that, like you're playing. So there was a buzz about it, and it was growing really quick. It's just that I think Steve wanted to be a manager or bring his friend on board. So when he got in power, the position of power went a little bit to his head. And that was the result of, obviously, how can I get Steve Pickering out of the job? And obviously, my downfall was doing that, what I did with Carlos, the voice message with Carlos, what Carlos released. And like I say, I apologise about that. I should never have done that. If I'd not done that, maybe I would still been at Brandon now. Maybe we would be mid-table. This wouldn't have happened. So I apologise to the fans for that as well. But even if I'd not been suspended or sacked, we would still be in a good position now because I would have still been there. We wouldn't have been in the bottom of the league like we are now, mate. No chance, not a prayer.
Yeah, tough times, isn't it? Just halfway through, I just want to say a massive thank you again to our sponsors, DJ Private Hire, like you say, supporting our channel and also supporting the Facebook page. As always, massive supporter of the channel as well. A couple of comments coming there from Lord Blackwood. What was committee's reasoning behind the ending the ties with the youth club? Can't see any possible gain from that.
James didn't even died because if we speak to Helen, I think Helen Seymour it was, who was on the youth committee, I was trying my hardest with her, to get the youth involved in Brandon United. I even said about they could use the pitch, use the facilities, because I believe they were using separate grounds. They didn't have a home. So I'm like,
Right.
oh, so Brandon Youth have not got a home. My first thing when I got there was we got all the youth in. There was the chairman there. I forgot the chairman's name now, but Helen was there. Paul Gillis, who was chairman of Brandon at the time, was there. And I said, look, first thing I want to do is connect the community back together. Let them start using the facilities. Let them use the pitches. Let them train on the pitches. And then I even said about bringing the lads through because it was pre-season. Let's have a look at a few of the 18s because when I left Gateshead, they were unbeaten, and Graham Glatty took over as manager of Gateshead, and the only team that beat them were Brandon. And apparently there were two midfielders in that what dominated it, and Graham said it's two great lads there. So I wanted to look at them, and I invited them to pre-season. I mean, you can ask Brandon Youth, which I did do. Invited people there to come and join and train with the first team. This goes back again to the committee and Steve. They didn't want them nowhere near the club for some reason. So it was them what just disconnected Brandon Youth from the club, not myself.
Yeah, and just before we obviously chat about going forward as well, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone that's watching, loads watching now. We really appreciate support as always. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button as well. I'm good because it's our last show of 2023, and I'm going to have a little break with the family after this one, but I can't wait to get back into things in 2024 as well. And like you say, the reason why we're trying to do the show tonight is to get the support again for Brandon United people watching on. It could just be that one person that's watching. I think, it is. Let's go and have a go at that. It was just nice to see something come off the new year and hopefully back in the Northern League as well. And like you say, what I touched on earlier going forward, it was so sad to see the former players commenting about their time at the club on the Facebook, and obviously committee managers going as well. But like you say, there's again a lot of people blaming this person, blaming that person again, instead of getting together and trying to push the club forward. I know I've told a couple of people about a dream on Monday night. I won the lottery actually, so I bought Brandon United and Gary Brown. Watching Gary Brown, I brought him as joint player manager, and we kept them up. So if you're watching Gary, if I win the lottery tonight, I'll be on the phone in the morning. But yeah, honestly, hope something can come of it. But like you say, Brandon itself have always had a good set of players at the club, and even the Sunday League side. I've played against many sides at times as well. A great setup. The stadium, like you say, the pitch, and it's just a great place to be. And like you say, you look at the Northern League sides now, they have that main hub, as that's the stadium. You'll have your youth set up where they'll come and watch, let the kids come in for free, but they're bringing an adult that's paying, and it's money coming in, the food, the drinks. And if you can get that community going together, it would be absolutely fantastic. But from your point, what do you think can now be done going forward with the club, do you think?
Well, since it came out, James, I had 23 players signed on. And like I said, we got 23 quality players, and they're all playing well. I've had 16 of the lads, which were the lads what were starting really the first 11 and the 5. I said they'd all go back tomorrow. Now that certain people are left, they'd all go back tomorrow and they'd play for free. And these lads are Northern League 1 and Northern League 2 players, and they would go back and they would play. I was striking a partnership up with a company in Durham, a businessman in Durham, who was willing to invest in the company, but then a certain person was on board and he withdrew that. Now he's heard what's happened. He's willing to do that again, and he said he would sort the debt up. I think there's 25, 30 grand or whatever it is they owe him, which to me, those debts shouldn't have been accrued. I mean, they could have been avoided. How they were accrued was ridiculous, but there's people there what are willing to do that, and there's players willing to come back. Now, I know I've seen on Brandon United's Facebook page that there's people saying, "Oh, we can get so and so in players in, we can raise money, get it going." Well, for me, why haven't the people from Brandon done that before? Do you know what I mean? The team was struggling in 2005 and 2006, and it was left to struggle. Matty coming in did a great job and got them bouncing again, but there was always in the background. It's always the finances are struggling, and then obviously when I was there, it was coming out of my own pocket. I did get paid back the £2,500, by the way. They did eventually pay me that back, but the £1,600 what I paid the players' wages, which I'd never asked for back. But it's one of them where the community do need to get together and they need to do something. And it has been put in the hands of administrators. That's even better because the administrator will deal with it rather than it being the committee what's there now making the decision on who takes it over. If there's an administrator in place, people can put the proposals in. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do the other. And that's what should happen. But for players-wise, I mean, Steve Durant tried and Billy Harper's tried, and the players what they brought in just aren't good enough, bless them. They are the footballers, but they're not good enough. There's 16 lads out there now what would come back tomorrow. They would come back tomorrow, and they've said they would do. Now certain people have left the club. They would come back tomorrow and they would play for free. And these lads were on 80s, 60s and 70 quids a game. And they would do, because nobody wants to see the club fold at all.
Yeah, I mean, about 3 or 4 weeks ago watching down the hub, and obviously I had to leave at half time because we had family plans for the night time, but they were obviously nailed down at half time. And if it wasn't kind of leaving at half time, I was actually gutted walking out at half time, seeing a Brandon United side in that place. Like I say, I know the history of the club, I know players that's played for the managers and stuff like that. So it was quite frustrating as myself watching that at the time as well. But I mean, a lot of anger on social media about how it's been announced, and there hasn't been meetings put in place before the announcement, or trying to ask for help in that. I mean, what's your thoughts on that one?
It just goes to show me. I mean, I take my hat off to the committee who's been there for 3 or 4 years, because it's a hard job. It is a hard job. It's just that when you're not football people, you're not proper football people, you don't know how to handle situations. This is the result you get. It should have been, like you say, it should have been a committee should have happened. It should have been a general meeting. An AGM should have been announced, and then for all the public to come in, sit in the clubhouse, right? This is where we're at. This is what's going to happen. Is there anything out there what we can do, try and save it before we go and pull ourselves out from the Northern League, before we go into administration? It's just they've not thought about things properly, and it's just like, right, this is what's happening. We're in charge. We're doing this. They're not in charge because it's a charity. It's a charity-run football club. Nobody owns that football club. So for them to make that decision and go on without having an AGM or discussing it with the community, I think it's criminal. It shouldn't have happened, mate. It should never have happened.
Yeah, and before we finish as well, I just want to, will you be seeing your face back in the Northern League anytime soon, do you think?
I'm at a very good club now, what's very well run, it's good structure. I've got a lot of respect for the chairman, but I'm just in the background, just doing a bit of coaching, a bit of analysis, which is what I want to do. But you never know, mate. You never know what's going to happen in the future. I mean, like I said, I will go to that. Absolutely, you could speak to my wife about it. I was crushed when I found out that Brandon were going under. I'd only been there, 6-7 months, and I was crushed. And I said to her, if I could do anything to save it, which I could do financially, I could do, but whether people who were on the committee would allow that to happen, I don't know. But that's why I'm saying to you now, it's been put down as an administrator. There's a few things what could be put in place. The players what I had playing there would gladly come back tomorrow. I know the Northern League suspended games until the 23rd of December, which gives us 2.5, 3 weeks to try and put something in place. I would go back. I would go back and try and finish what I started. And my coaching staff would as well, with Dave Skelton, Graham Galati, and even Liam Brickett. Did all come back down and help try and save Brandon from relegation and from going to receivership.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I think before we go, I just want to say everyone that's been watching now, I mean, you're hitting 50 now, which is absolutely amazing on the channel. Anybody that's watching, like you say, please help and let's save this football club. I know we did the exact same thing with Durham City. We had 3 or 4 shows, different people coming on, giving different opinions, but in the end, they did survive. And like you say, they were so thankful of what we did on the channel. Like you say, anyone that wants opinions, come on, have a chat. That's what we're here for. Everyone wants to hear them, but let's make sure that Brandon United is the number one in this. Let's make sure that they've still got a football in that community. It's not just for the football club. You'll be the groundsman who's been there for years, cutting the grass, the person that's letting people in, taking the money, the person working behind the bar, putting the corner flags out, putting the nets. To them, it's just a little job that they do every week. But to some people, that's their outlet in life. They go to work Monday to Friday, to go and put the nets up on a Saturday, to collect the money to cut the grass. And these people still need that little job to go forward, to keep them right in some places. I know I work all week, and I've got the coaching back on the weekend. I absolutely love it. So please, like I say, I know there's so many comments that's been on the Brandon United social media page about people that's been on the committee so many years that's going to be missing out if this club goes under. So let's make sure that Brandon United doesn't, and hopefully we'll have the club saved after the new year as well. But again, thank you everyone so much for watching. Like you say, this is our last show of 2023. We're back in about 4 weeks' time. Lots lined up for the new year, and hopefully getting out around more grounds as well. Hopefully Brandon United as well. But Steve, thank you very much for coming on the show tonight.
Thanks for having us, James, and have a great Christmas, pal.
Yeah, and everyone was watching as well. Yeah, hope you have a great Christmas, and your family and friends as well. But again, everyone, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night as well.